Here's some lessons from the Wolf of Wall Street that every high-performing man needs to learn about power, purpose and control and how to put them into your life. But let's get one thing straight. Jordan Belfort didn't lose because he was evil. He lost because he forgot who the fuck he was in the first place. Because the Wolf of Wall Street movie isn't just a movie about greed. It's a warning for every high-performing man who's chasing success without a system for daily alignment. Because you can build the empire, stack millions, have the cars, the women, the power, the network. But if your inner world is chaotic, it will all crumble and come down like a tower of cards. The Wolf of Wall Street wasn't destroyed by the FBI. He was destroyed by the part of himself that he refused to control. And that's the lesson that every ambitious man needs to understand. Lesson number one is you can't outrun or outwork your inner world. You can hide behind success for a while. You can mask the emptiness with dopamine, money, sex, substances, women, cars, but it always catches up. Because Jordan Belfort had everything: private jets, yachts, mansions, models. But what he didn't have was peace. He'd built an empire externally whilst burning out internally. And that's what most high-performing men that I work with, I see them doing right now. Operating on chaos energy and mistaking adrenaline for purpose. That's not power. That's self-destruction wearing a Rolex. The first lesson from the Wolf of Wall Street is this: you can't build the kingdom if the king is at war with himself. Let me say it again. You can't build a kingdom if the king is at war with himself. So if you want to level up as a man, start mastering what's going on inside here before you start trying to multiply what's going on the outside. And once you master in here, external success becomes easier anyway. Lesson two: addiction isn't about drugs, because Jordan wasn't addicted to cocaine. He was addicted to validation, control, chaos and dopamine. He was chasing a chemical that said and made him feel like he's enough. And that's what drives most high achievers. Not hunger for success, but fear of inadequacy. You're grinding because you think that peace and validation is going to come after the next win, the next promotion, the next car, but it doesn't. If you can't find peace in the process, you'll destroy yourself by chasing more and more and more. Because the man who can sit with the silence and still feel fulfilled is so much more powerful than the one screaming into a microphone about making millions. That's real strength, being able to sit with yourself. You don't need to chase the high when you are the high. That's exactly what alignment is. Lesson number three: charisma without integrity is a weapon. Jordan Belfort had insane charisma. He could move people with his words. He could sell ice to an Eskimo, energy, belief. But when the charisma isn't rooted in integrity, it just becomes manipulation that blows up in your face. And this is where most men fuck up. They learn influence before discipline. They learn persuasion before purpose. They learn how to get power without learning how to carry it and use it. Charisma is like a Ferrari. It will take you far, but if you can't handle the speed, you're going to crash. And it's going to be a very expensive crash. Your words are only powerful when they're backed by alignment. And that's why most men who talk big end up losing everything, because they haven't built the character to hold what they attract. But if you want people to follow you, build yourself into the man that's worth following. That's exactly what the Become Unfuckwithable Blueprint teaches: how to build a foundation of physical and mental mastery, so when the power comes, you can multiply it and compound it instead of self-destructing and destroying yourself. Lesson number four: power without purpose is poison. Because the wolf had power but no direction, and when the power has no direction, it feeds ego instead of purpose. Power magnifies whatever's inside you. So if you're aligned, it will multiply your impact. If you're broken, it will multiply your destruction. So every man needs to ask himself this question: if I got everything I'm chasing right now, money, fame, freedom, would I actually use it well, and would I be able to enjoy it? Because if your identity is built on hustle and external success, you'll keep chasing stimulation and more, instead of chasing a legacy. Power without purpose will eat you alive, because true power is quiet. It's self-control. It's discipline. It's knowing that you could, but choosing not to. That's real masculine alpha energy. Lesson number five: the game is energy management. Because Jordan Belfort's downfall wasn't his intelligence, because he was a very smart man, clearly. It was his energy. He never stopped. He was constantly on, partying, scheming, manipulating, performing, selling, and eventually he crashed. because even wolves need to rest. Lions need to rest. High performers burn out because they treat every day like a sprint. The most dangerous addiction in the world isn't drugs, it's urgency, constantly needing to do the next thing. And when everything feels urgent, you lose presence, you lose precision. That's why alignment is so key. And if your internal navigation system is telling you when to push, when to pull, when to pause, when to attack, then you don't need more energy, because your brain's working for you instead of against you. You just need to learn how to channel your brain and your energy and your alignment properly. Lesson number 6 is redemption is always possible. Because here's what I respect the most about Jordan Belfort. He owned his downfall, he rebuilt, he became a teacher, a flawed, imperfect man who's authentic about his mistakes. That's redemption. And most men never get that far because they're too ashamed to face their truth. But here is the truth. The version of you that fucked up isn't your enemy, is your greatest teacher. And when you can learn to accept where you fucked up, like I've done in this video, I've admit I've been an addict, I've been overweight, hated myself. The pain, the guilt, the regret, that's the tuition that you pay for wisdom. Every man who's made mistakes has 2 options. Keep repeating the loop or use it as fuel for transformation. Alignment isn't about perfection, it's about evolution. It's about looking at your shadows and saying, thank you for teaching me where you think I should go next. That's what makes you truly unfuckwithable. Physical and mental mastery. Keep compounding life, getting better day after day after day. Lesson number 7, reprogram your operating system. Jordan's biggest shift wasn't his career, it was his identity. He had to unlearn the version of himself that was addicted to chaos and rebuild the one who valued peace, purpose, precision, and genuine happiness. That's what most men never do because they don't know how. They try to change the results without changing their identity. But you can't outwork your subconscious programming. Let me say it again. You can't outwork your subconscious programming. And that's why I teach subconscious programming to all my private clients, because if your internal dialogue says that you're not enough, no amount of money or success will ever make you feel enough either. So when you change your internal code, the external world starts changing and aligning automatically. That's when your life starts to feel like a game that you've already mastered, because this life is a big game about leveling up and learning how to play. Lesson number 8, control is the real status symbol, because the most dangerous man in the room isn't the loudest, he's the calmest and the most present and at peace. Because Jordan had the crowd, the charisma, the chaos, but he didn't have control. Not control of his emotions, his habits, and especially control of his ego. So if you want to stand out as a high-performing man, learn to control your state. When everybody else is panicking and getting stressed out and overwhelmed, stay calm. When everybody else is chasing, stay focused. When everybody else is flexing, stay silent. That's what dominance looks like. So when you stop being reactive, you start becoming magnetic. People, opportunities, wealth, money, opportunities, moments, experiences start gravitating towards you, because reality bends to the man that moves with certainty. Lesson number 9, mastery isn't flashy, because the wolf was chasing fame, but mastery isn't about being seen, it's about being solid. High performers burn out because they keep chasing new mountains instead of conquering the one that they're already on. But mastery is the quiet repetition of excellence. It's showing up every day without the need for applause, because you don't get rewarded for starting 1,000 things and never finishing them. You get rewarded for finishing one thing with precision and doing it well. The top 1% of men don't talk about disciplined, they just are disciplined. They don't have to brag about being aligned because they live in alignment every single day. They're not driven by noise, they're driven by necessity. Let me say that again, they're not driven by noise, they're driven by necessity. Lesson number 10, you can have everything and still lose. That's the tragedy of Jordan Belfort. He won everything, built the empire, but he lost himself in the process. And that's the same story I see in the boardrooms, offices, and homes across the world. And when I go into companies and talk, men who look like they're killing it externally, but they're dead and they're lost inside. So if your success costs you your soul, your health, your relationships, then that's not success. That's slavery with a tailored suit and a Rolex. So if you want real freedom, it's not just about more. It's about mastery. Master your emotions, master your energy, master your alignment. Then, and only then, can you handle the level of success that's not going to destroy you. Because it's great to get levels of success, but we don't want to destroy ourselves doing it. So here's your call to evolve. The Wolf of Wall Street is every high performer's mirror. It shows what happens when the drive isn't directed and when the hunger becomes addiction. but it also shows what's possible when you learn from your mistakes, you rebuild your discipline, and you channel your power. Because every man watching this has a wolf inside of him. And when you get to decide whether he protects your empire or burns it down, that's the true power of alignment. And that's exactly how you become unfuckwithable. So if you're ready to, if you like what you've heard today and you're ready to stop playing small, download the Become Unfuckwithable Blueprint, my free system that helps men master themselves mentally and physically from the inside out. The link's in the description. And if you're serious, book a power hour breakthrough call. We'll dissect your chaos, we'll rebuild your structure and design your next level. Because the game doesn't stop. The question is, when are you going to master it and learn to level up instead of letting life master you and treat you like a little bitch? So I'll see you in the next video, but don't bother clicking on the next video if you're not going to click the link and download the free system that's changed my life and changed so many of my clients' lives. Let's fucking go.